So let's just move on. The next segment, I'm going to have some conversation with Nicholas about technology, real estate, and all that. And I want to ask you, Nicholas, from your standpoint and your experience in the technology world, in the area of business, like what's going on in technology in the area of business in general, from your perspective?
In the technology scene, you definitely be bombarded with a lot of words like IR 4.0, like AR, VR, AI, big data, and all these blockchain technologies. And all these will even talk about like metaverse at the same time as well. So as we are bombarded with all these words, I think very important is technology actually bring a lot of convenience and speed to our day-to-day life. Because of the speed and the convenience that the technology has brought to all of us, that we demand a more customized and personal way of the technology being delivered to all of us. And this is where I believe that the hardcore of the technology in Keller Williams, where we personalize every single way that we deliver to all of you.
Right,
yeah.
and it's hard, right? Because I have conversations with people, business people, and it's hard to avoid technology. It's hard to say, I don't want to change the way I run business. I don't want to digitize. And COVID has fast forward all businesses to go into the digitizing realm. Can we talk a little bit about that? What do you think about the digitizing part in terms of generally for businesses?
I think it's something that we cannot avoid. It's something that will come, must come, and eventually we have to really adopt to it. It's very important that we embrace the technologies. No matter how challenging, actually, in fact, technology is not hard, right? It's simple. Right? One of the desire is to make technology simple, sticky, and simplify it for everyone over here.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so in terms of our technology, like how do you see that affecting our real estate industry? Basically, based on your perspective, right? What are some of the things in your early stage with us as you're exploring the platforms that we have and you are kind of studying the businesses? You've been talking to some of the high-producing agents here in our company a couple of weeks. What are some of your thoughts and some of your perspectives so far?
I've watched this video by Gary Keller, probably some of you have actually watched it as well, the differentiations between the tech-enabled agent and also agent-enabled tech. I think there's a huge differentiations. At the very beginning when I actually met up with John, and he shared this with me, I was like, I didn't really catch it. But when I watched the video over again and again, I finally realized that there's huge difference between becoming a tech-enabled agent and agent-enabled tech. When we become a tech-enabled agent, we are basically like owning the tech ourselves, and you're actually progressive, and you're actually making a difference in your own personal career. But when you become an agent-enabled tech, you are basically just transacting in any other platform. You're contributing the data over there, and you're actually helping the organizations to grow their database. But when we actually do it here together as a tech-enabled agent, it's a huge difference because we own the data, and we're going to personalize this data together and bring lots more big data back to your business. And that's going to be a big difference.
Right, and the risk of our business being disrupted by the technology businesses out there, it's high. It is really, really high that our business will be disrupted as technology is trying to find efficiency in a market that has so much gaps and so much non-transparency in how transactions are being done in terms of data lags and all that. So technology can solve that problem. The only challenge is this: to compete with that, we have to then be relevant and we have to be tech-enabled. If we are not tech-enabled, there will be a time like Grab took over the taxi drivers. That's going to happen. So the goal is become Grab first, because before Grab take over. So our journey in our organization is to become the tech-enabled company for you, so that you are the tech-enabled agent for your market and your client. Right, Nick, another big question here, right? What's the difference between a technology company and a company that uses technology?
Oh, there's a huge difference in this segment. Just like the attitude and the posture and the mindset as a tech company is so different. Say, for example, if you are the tech companies, imagine it is like owning a house. Like when you own a house that you want to do the best for your house, that you want to grow it for investments or for your personal stay, things will be hugely different the way that you actually do and react. But if let's say you are just a company that use tech, it's like the same as you are just renting houses around. So when you're renting houses around, that you're trying to look for the better place, better investments out there, and a better place where you actually get you over. But the thing is so different in terms of mindset. Say, for example, if I'm renting a house, I won't invest too much in the house because it's not my house. right? So I wouldn't be thinking of renovating it or decorating or any other things just to make sure that things, because the value at the end of the day belongs to the company, belongs to the house, right? It's like the owner. But when we are a tech firm, like we look into the full end-to-end, like the very beginning to the end. Is not just looking into like what is the latest technologies out there we subscribe. So it's like you're just moving around like headless chickens, like trying to subscribe to the best things. But when you are the tech firm, like you have a long-term view, you have a suite of the technologies, and you want to go deep in building it for all of us.
Yeah, so basically we want to design our life and we want to live by design. We do not want to leave it to other people to design for us, right? And that's an example. And I tell people this, I tell people in the real estate business today, if you don't have this, you can't call yourself a technology company. Like if you don't have your business and your technology set up this way, where you have a data warehouse, we have cloud storing all the data, an AI that's helping to make sense of the data, and an operating system above to reach the consumer, the agent, and your market center together to being connected in technology, you are not a technology company. Now, what I'm showing you here today already is here. We are already now in this realm. Whatever you are seeing here today is already available for use, and we are already enhancing and adding values to the technology platform. And that's what Nick is saying, right? If you want to be a technology company, you must develop this way. You can't subscribe all the time, because when you subscribe and you don't build data warehouses or operating systems to enable the agent to do better in their business, you can't call yourself a technology company, right? So Nick, when you look at this, right, what excites you when you see this?
What excites me is like when I look at this is the integrations with like all these prominent organizations where you can basically see Facebook, Google, like this, and we are not just like any other companies, because we have, like as far as my conversations with KW Williams US, that we have a direct connection with Facebook and Google, and that's very exciting, because like you see, right, no matter how successful we are as an agent, right, so, or how successful you are in your team, that the data that we have is only that limited. But when we are plugged into this big source of data, and with KW Williams being the #1 in US, the amount of big data that we have that they curated for our use, and many of you have experienced that by the amount of money that you spend on lead generation is super low, right? Just because of the big data that we have. And all this integration is not any companies can just do it overnight. It takes years of experience and understanding in depth to basically discover and do this.
Right, and I say that because KW Williams International in the US have over 400 technology engineers, and we were on the call yesterday night with our manager, our support manager in the US. Tell us a bit about the experience, like how you see the company in that development, because I think many people behind the scene don't understand that you need that big support and that big resource to develop tech to make it more meaningful for agents.
Yeah, I can't share how excited I am because like I think the last night call makes a lot of difference. Yesterday we were here like for the rehearsals, like we ended up quite late, and I just arrived back home about 10 o'clock. But 10 at night, like we have this call with the US tech team, and I was so excited seeing the roadmap for 2022. Right, the roadmap, the technology roadmap, like what's going to come ahead. I can't. They just warned me, Nick, try not to review too much, try not to give the timeline of the things. But I'm super excited. Like it's the things that we all need. No, like one of the things is like we're talking about WhatsApp integrations, like a little bit of review of that. And it's not so much about what you can see in other agencies, which I've done quite a lot of research. It's not so much about just putting a link that you can basically do a WhatsApp. But this is a pure integrations where, and they don't even want to go with any third party, and they want to go direct because of their relationship with Facebook. They want to go direct with this integration. And I'm super excited with that. And knowing that every single applications that we have in command, we actually have 2 or 3 product manager that basically look into it, and they actually do sprint, like in the tech space, when we do sprint and we understand that product managers are looking into that, we know that the company is serious. Right, yeah.
Right, and it is hard to compete with that kind of resource. And it's hard to, and I think any technology platform that we subscribe to in our country, in our region, will be very difficult to compete with what we have. And I dare say, based on what we have right now from a technology standpoint, we are 3 years ahead of all your competitors.
Yeah, probably that is also understated.
Yeah, I think that's conservatively, in order for someone to build this right now, not talking even about the partnership, but just to break the base, you need 3 years. I think we are 3 years ahead of the market. And the goal of this company as a technology firm right now is to keep putting us ahead, putting all of you ahead of the competitor by giving you more resources and more technological advances and functionality that will help scale your business. Now, Nick, moving forward, what's your plan for the company, man? What's going on in the area of tech for us? Are you looking at development? What are stuff that you can share with us from a high level right now?
Yeah, I think the very first thing will be very much the technology adoptions. We have big things, we have a lot of things that's very much ready and the systems that's ready for us to use. I think like as of now, when I look at the data, it's still underutilized. So there's so much things like in commands, in Keller Clouds, like and also the API integrations that we have with HProcs and many more systems that we'll be launching at the later of today. And like my key role is basically to drive the technology adoptions, that we can all use this on a day-to-day basis and we embrace it and we just make this as our day-to-day things over there. And the next things, once we are all able to use the data, able to use the system, I think the next big thing is basically to have our own data warehouse, that we can actually house all this data by ourselves. That's each and every one of us can basically use this and create the big data from there. And you will have a personalized and more informed and more intelligence as you go out and do your sales.
Right, so it's all about adoption. Now, the challenge that we have here is the adoption, right? And one of Nick's major tasks moving forward in the next few months and year is to really help strategically figure out what's the best way to help everyone adopt the technology to a certain level. I don't think we have to learn everything and do everything here, but at least put your database in, at least do certain things in technology so that we get the data in and then we can turn back the data to you and make you more intelligent, right? That's really our goal.